What's up everyone, CR2 here. Hope you're doing well wherever and whenever you're watching from. And today we have got the NASCAR 1987's Practice and Qualified Guide for Gateway. Week 9 I believe it is. Been looking forward to this track ever since I saw it was announced. And it would be great if we could get on that go-kart track in the infield. But I've been looking forward to this place for a bit. We're on this picture really quickly here because very important thing. You will very likely get a penalty if you even, I don't know if run it over to some degree or if you even just touch it. Best way, don't even try to find out. Just make sure you're completely to the left of this commitment box, I'll call it. It's just not worth ruining your race over trying to, or either being completely ignorant to that this is a rule here. Make sure you're all the way to the left of this box. So quickly into things. 104 on the track temperature. It will cool just because it's entering late afternoon, but with cars on track it either will warm up a degree or two or stay right at this temperature. High usage here. That's because I think with Gateway at this particular temperature it's more rubber buildup and track use. That's going to slow you down, wear out your tires more rather than outright track temperature. Now if this thing was at 115 or hotter, then it's absolutely track temperature affecting you rather than rubber buildup on the track. As far as for weather, wind at 12 miles an hour, kind of blowing across the track, so might make you loose off a turn 2, tight off a turn 4, not really out of direction to heavily affect you. Just to go over my preferences, +6. For qualifying, you can go pretty low on the brake bias. And let's get on out there. So while we're rolling out of here, for starters, the name of the game in the race is going to be extreme discipline with your right front. A little bit with your right rear as well. You don't want to wear the right rear because then that will just be your drive off ruined. Take it easy into turn 3 on your run up lap. Wait till you're turning down the banking and you can pretty much just hammer it the rest of the way. No gear change needed in your qualifying lap. You're going fast enough to stay in 4th. Hard initial braking. Get it turned down. Careful with that wall. I could have done better, but my qualifying pace is just not as good as it can be here. Careful of sliding into 3 and 4. Good for 36.12. That 36.05 I hit in just practice session a couple days ago. I'm sure that's about the best I could possibly do. With less rubber buildup, I'm sure it's easier to get into the .0s. Even 35.9 might be possible. So let's get on out here to start our lap. Switch this up really quickly. Alright. So remember, get your run up going. .155 to start your lap. Pretty good speed. If you're faster than that, you're off to a great start. You're going to hit the chip anyway. Start your braking. You see this little bit of shadow right here from what is crossover gate. No, not a crossover gate. Maybe like one of those openings in the gates for trackside cameras, stuff like that. But either way, use this shadow as your braking marker for qualifying. Gonna try to cut down for your exit. I think I overdrove it a little bit. Three and 4, you kind of just got to feel out your braking marker. Make sure you're not going to slide it because then you're just going to burn lap time. And just full power your way to the finish. Let's see, 103. In the schedule, 2:35 is the listed fire off time for the session. But qualifying is 15 minutes after that. Race start time is another 15 minutes after that. You assume you use almost 2 minutes of grid time before then. You're going green like 3:08, something like that. And it does give the track time to cool off a little bit. So 103, maybe 102, 101 by the time you're going green. Just something to keep in consideration. Put my brake bias up to 57.2. You don't want to burn your right rear early. So just going to roll off slow here, mimic a race start. And if I didn't say it already, extreme discipline is the name of the game here. Don't chase lap time. Keep your right front happy as much as possible, because you kill the right front, your turn in, your center, and arguably even your exit is going to be ruined, because then you're putting that load on your right rear to make up your time. Downshift into 3, into 3rd gear, be easy on throttle. The car will break loose if you're too aggressive to start. I'm going to do a little bit of a diamond line in 3 and 4. I washed up a little bit too much. As soon as you're on the rev limiter in turn 1, I think that's about the latest you can afford to brake. I mean, of course you could brake later than that, but you're just going to burn away your right front. Trail brake through almost all of 3 and 4. Try not to track towards the wall until you're at the end of the safer barrier. Brake as soon as you hear you're on the rev limiter. Try to anticipate that a little more, rather. Try to delay your gear change until after corner center, because beforehand it just upsets the car from what I've found. You can see how I'm not really getting every little bit out of the pace. I could go ahead and click off at 36.8 right now if I really wanted to. But remember, you got to think about 30 laps, 40 laps from now, essentially up until you're making your green flag pit stop. I could try to get everything out of the car right now, but come back to me 15 or 20 laps from now, I'm going to struggle to run even 38 zeros. Long run pace, if you're taking the best care possible of your right side tires, you can probably still click off 37.6s on lap 35 or 40. Just to show you why we're doing the gear change in 1 and 2. We'll do that next time around. We'll stay in 4th gear just to show everybody that how much slower it is. It costs you easily 3 or 4 tenths. So you make up the time there on exit, but whoever's done the gear change, alright, excuse me, it's not that much slower, it's only about a tenth. But fastest way around is to do the gear change into 3rd gear. And another thing to show here why we're running that diamond line. Rather than just sticking it low the whole way around. You're on throttle here, but you're pointing at the wall. And you can't really be aggressive on throttle. Kind of the same thing through 3 and 4. Loose off of turn 4 because I've got so much left turn in the steering wheel to try to make that exit while on throttle. I did forget to say this at the start of the video. Big thanks to Jonathan Millis. His channel is John M Racing on YouTube. He's helped me a ton for this week as well, like with Auto Club at the start of the season. Both him and I testing a bunch, comparing our numbers. As you see, don't miss your gear change, of course. It costs you more time than just staying in 4th gear. But he's helped me a ton in putting together numbers, seeing what's possible. He found out that it's possible to run the whole thing without stopping for fuel, which I was hopeful is not possible. He just thought to try it and find out. And so the downside to that, though, is they're going to be running easily 0.3 to half a second slower a lap just to save fuel. You got to lift and coast like halfway down the back straight, front straight, while also staying in 4th gear, of course, in turns 1 and 2. So, assuming your race is going full green and there's a couple people trying to do the whole thing with no stop, the answer to beat them, assuming no yellow comes out, of course, is probably to pit. Maybe lap 50 earlier, perhaps, but I tried a lap 45 pit stop and the car was just too loose to me with right side tires and that extra gallon or 2 of fuel that you need to still make it. And you see here, we're still clicking off 37.5, 37.4 still if I can hit my markers in line 100% correctly. Overdrove that there, you don't want to do that. And if you miss the gear change, you just gotta eat the lost time. You're not gonna make it up. It's okay to hit that curb just a bit on entry. Be sure not to hit it on from center to exit. It really upsets the car. Same, of course, goes for turns 1 and 2. Missing the line just a little bit there. nature of this track, like Darlington, you're going to want to set up your passes coming out of the corners. Try to be side by side going into the corners rather than trying to beat somebody by outbraking them, get alongside them into either the turn, because you're going to kind of wash up a little bit and possibly hit them. Best to set yourself up, get a stronger run out of the corners versus somebody in front of you, and make sure you've got the line going into the corners. Alright, so I am going to check out for a little bit, just click off laps, and then you guys will rejoin probably about lap 50 of this run, 51, and we can get our practice green flag pit stop, so you'll see me back here shortly. Alright everyone, we are back just a couple laps away from our practice green flag pit stop. And you can see we're still clicking off 37.6s, more often 37.7s, once in a blue moon of 0.5 if I can hit everything bang on. So you can see a little loose off on throttle out of turn 2. And we're going to be pitting about lap 51, coming to take lap 51 of this run. You could pit earlier, but I think just with that little bit of fuel still in the car, it makes it a little bit too loose, at least for my liking. A little too early on throttle there. Still works out, but that's overworking the right front a little bit. Here we go. Brake around this blue sign here. Should have put the brake bias up. It is very, very important that you don't go too fast into here. And then just try to attack this pit entry. We will certainly say that was speeding. But for sure, it's just not worth it trying to be over aggressive going into that pit in road. If you go under the grass, your race is ruined if it's under green.
5.
Well, under yellow, that should not be an issue.
2, 1. Right here.
Check off left set tires. And 79, 77.
Okay, go.
Now just know this is going to be pretty damn loose for the first few laps, so pump your brake bias all the way up. Trust me, you're just going to want to. Now note on fuel, we are pretty close. See, 37 laps to go. And yeah, you're a couple laps fuel behind, so really adding 6 gallons might be the way to go. And for the first few laps, I honestly recommend just staying in 4th gear simply because the car is that loose, and going into 3rd gear just gives you a little bit too much torque for how much grip your right sides have. It might be a little bit faster to downshift, but just really it's all about consistency, still thinking long run. Let's try 3rd gear here just to see how it'll feel. Not all that faster, so I recommend staying in 4th gear for the first few laps after your green flag pit stop. Because versus people who haven't pit yet, or especially the fuel savers, they're pretty married to a fuel per lap number, or otherwise a lap time, which will be like 38.1s, 38.2s. Meanwhile, you're lapping possibly up to a second and a half faster than them for first 10 laps or so after your green flag pit. See, now it might be an option to go down to 3rd gear here. See how I'm sliding here? I'm sliding just a little bit too hard into the corner. So I definitely recommend you guys practice on 2 tires. Just preparation is your best friend. Still sliding in a little bit. Yep, gotta be careful of that. So I think one way to fight the loose on throttle off for turn 4 is to really exaggerate your diamond. And the way you do that, kind of attack it a little bit harder, track on out. Still loose there anyway. So yes, you're absolutely going to want to be careful here. We'll give it one more lap, then we will call it a day. And of course, don't do that. So we will give it another lap. go. It's about 8 laps in, the loose is starting to go away, and the car actually feels really good now. So it's just, you really got to be careful for those opening few laps. So go on back a little bit. Just I think this is gonna be a very, very important part. So you brake at that blue sign. You're probably you will want to be lower on the track. Don't brake for your pit in when you got somebody right behind you. Don't do that. Go on and attack a little bit. And yeah, that is speeding for sure. So your pit in and pit out is very, very important here, and not easy. You've got pretty much no banking to help you either keep speed or build up speed, either of that. That's all very important. So really, to sum up for this week, keep your right front happy as much as you possibly can. A little bit of right rear care goes into that as well, especially off of turn 2 when you're downshifting, or when you're down in 3rd gear and then throttling up in 3rd gear towards 4th gear. Keep your right rear happy as well, but especially that right front. You kill the right front, your turn in, your corner center is killed, and then you're going to put more work on the right rear to try to make up that time. Extreme discipline is going to be your friend. Discipline and preparation. This place is like Darlington, but harder in my opinion. It's these corners have about half as much banking compared to Darlington. Much less banking to help you carry speed. So fuel saving is possible, but you're behind on the fuel number for a very significant amount of the race, and you're going to be much slower per lap. That's up to you if you want to do that. But this, I'm showing how to get as much as possible out of your car every lap, thinking short run and long run. So with that in mind, I hope this is helpful. Good luck this coming week. Anything I miss in this guide, anything you want to ask, feel free to down in the comments. Again, huge thanks to Jonathan Millis of John M Racing. I'll link his channel down in the description, and see you guys on the track. Take care.